Welcome back, gang. So today I'm going to talk about running auto route running stitches. Once you figure out how Inkstitch implements the auto route running stitch, you can get a really good idea of some fascinating things you can do with it, and it'll be a great addition to your digitizing arsenal. This is a local company that we may end up getting a contract with. This is kind of a sample. Going to do it on a couple of shirts kind of thing, and maybe something will go from there. But for anybody that doesn't know, this is the local propane gas delivery truck, residential. Business too, but it's designed to go into residential areas and deliver propane gas. So something there maybe. However, I'm not talking about the truck or the company. I'm talking about what I did here to digitize this. This is basically just three fill colors with running stitch design on top of it. And all of these lines I just willy-nilly did more or less, and then told Inkstitch to auto route running stitch. Turned out pretty good. I did change it up for the, this is kind of like the beta version of the digitize. I changed it up a little bit. It looks a little nicer now. So I'm going to show you that design real quick. Okay, so this is the SVG design of that stitched propane truck. Yeah, and you can tell these are all little running stitches. And then, to show you what it looks like, I've got that in its own layer. So when I click hide on this, it's going to hide all of those running stitches. Now, it looks more like a boat upside down. Anyway, so that is quite awesome. And other than that, I have a black fill stitch for the shading down here. And then the pink running stitch, you can more or less see what I've got here. I do have a satin stitch right here. Satin stitch tires. But that's what running stitch. That's the running stitch design, and then auto route running stitch applied to it. So let me explain auto route running stitches just briefly. So auto route running stitch. What we're going to do is we're just going to make bunch of silly nonsense lines here, and then I'm going to do a quick something design like this, and we'll do another one like this. The only thing about it is you do have to make sure that they are overlapping to some extent, even just one, and I'll show that here. But make sure that it touches. So all of these are, I don't know why, but they're all defaulting to a nice little, looks like running stitch actually, but we're gonna go ahead and do that. So now they're all dashes and they're all running stitches, and there shouldn't be any fill. Yeah, we're good there. So these are all running stitches, and if I preview that just like it is, there's going to be a lot of trims. There's going to be a lot of overlap. It's going to do the little antenna, old-fashioned TV antenna looking design in the back. And then it's going to do the star, and then it's going to do the circle, and then it's going to do the square. And that's exactly what I programmed it to do, or drew out to do. However, we're going to select all of these, make sure they are all selected. And we're going to go into extensions, Inkstitch, tools, stroke, auto route running stitch. Hit apply. And then close. So now we have an auto route layer. And you can see all these auto routes. Now be careful with doing repeats on your running stitch, because when you auto route the running stitch, it will do repeats. It's usually 2 and sometimes 3 repeats to get back to where it needs to get to go to the next thing. Like Okay, I'll just show you. And now that it's done that, we're going to go ahead and just preview it. And I'm going to let it run kind of slow so that you can see there are going to be a few. There, it's going back over that all the way to the beginning. Okay, now it's doing. Okay, so you get the idea. It will auto route everything, and it's no longer my antenna layer, star layer, box layer, circle layer. It is deciding on its own everything to do again. Most of the time, it won't do over a 2 repeat. I have seen a 3. Anyway, that's what you get with that. Really nice and neat. Cool beans, cool beans. Okay, so now that we have that, you've seen the propane truck. I'm going to do a little project. We're going to do this project pretty quick, I think. So I have gone ahead and loaded up my other car, pretty much. And I'm going to make this, we're going to do a project with this, concentrating on running stitch. So I'm going to do the fill stitch really quick. And then we're going to go to running stitch and go from there. So we're going to do a fill from here. I'm going to stop right about there. I'm going to come down. This will make sense later. I'm not going to worry about that little hump there. And up. We're going to change this to, I'm going to push shift and hit the X down here. That takes away the stroke. I'm going to unselect the shift. You know what? I think I want it to be close to that color, so I'm going to do the eyedropper. Boom. Yes. Okay, so for the next piece, I'm actually going to do more than I probably need to, and I'm going to create this little curve, come straight down. This is pretty flat, and then go straight back up. Again, push shift, hit that little X, that goes away, and then hit the eyedropper, make that the same color. Yep, I like it. And I want to make sure that I don't think it's quite overlapping, so I'm going to pull it down a little bit. There, it's overlapping now. Make sure these are more or less lined up. Okay, something to that effect. And I can tell by this vertical line that I'm not very straight, so we're going to pull that over and make that a little bit straighter. Okay. And we're going to do this again. We're going to go over to here. I'm going to not worry about that little black flap for now. Follow the day cab down to about there. Come over. Make sure we overlap just a little bit. Come back up. We're going to hit the Shift X and eyedropper color. All right, I like it. So we're gonna play around just a little bit here. So to give that just a little bit more of an indication of turning right here on this edge, we're gonna go into Inkstitch params. No, I have not set a shortcut yet. Such a slacker. I know it. Okay, on fill underlay, I'm turning fill underlay off completely. And then I'm turning underpath off. And I want an angle like this, but maybe not quite that much angle. So that should be a negative, let's see. Angle line of stitches, let's see what a negative 25 gives us. Wrong way, let's see what a 25 gives us. That's about what I want, I think. Okay, I think that's what I want. And I'm going to make it just ever so more dense by decreasing spacing between rows. And that depends a little bit too. I'm going to set it to 0.2. That depends a little bit on what you're stitching it on. But I'm going to, just for this, I'm going to set that to a 0.2. Hit apply and quit. I'm going to go to this middle one. I want that to stay horizontal, but I am going to do the same thing with taking away take away the underlay and the underpath. And I'm going to keep that horizontal stitch. And on this one, we want it to be slightly down the other way. Not quite as much as minus 20, or probably not as much as minus 25, but I think maybe minus 15 might be good. We'll see what it looks like. Fill underlay, turn that off. Underpath, turn that off. On angle of stitches, let's see what a 15 gives us. It's the wrong way. Minus 15. I even said minus 15 when I told you I was thinking about it. I believe that's what I want. Hit apply and quit. So on just these three things, I want to see what that looks like. We're going to do just a really quick simulator. And go ahead and skip to the end. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. Outstanding. I love it. I love it. I love it. So that's an awesome start to this little project, I think. And then we're going to just keep going from there. We're going to grab, I guess we're going to do the truck next. I need to do this dark underneath sometime. But we'll do the truck next. I'll start right about here, come around, and down, and down, and down to there. I can come, okay, to there, and then to there. Okay, I'm going to cut windows out just to show you how I would cut windows out. And what I'm going to do is, that's locked, so I can't move it. I'm going to unlock it and move it up. In fact, watch this. Add layer, image. And put the image in the image layer. How cool is that? And so I need to go into that image and turn that opacity down just a hair or more. Yeah, it's what I've got so far. So I'm going to turn the opacity up just enough to see the windows. And now we can cut windows out. I'm going to go back to the layer area. I'm going to lock that in so that it can't move. And I don't accidentally select it. Instead, I'm going to draw, which that mirror's in the way of that one. Okay, get me back into there. That mirror's in the way of that one, so we're going to, I think the arm is there somewhere. Decorate around that arm. And there's one. No fill. No stroke. Add a fill of some kind. Is that okay? And do it again. And no stroke, fill. And that's probably where I would stop. And then to cut those out, select that, select the baseline, select the fill color we just made, and the white color we previously made. Go path difference. Same thing with that one. I don't need to duplicate it because I'm not trying to make one of them stay. And duplicate. So now, that's what we have now. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and do, okay, what I'm going to do is drop this down. That's underneath, and I'm going to turn that opacity back up. Need on the image fill, turn that opacity back up. Doesn't have to be all the way, but as long as it's on the bottom, or on the bottom of the stack, then you can see what you're doing. Okay, so I'm going to hit that, go to grams. And I'm also going to do the same thing on this one. And turning off the underlay and all this a little extra I'm doing, you don't have to do that when you're doing running stitches. I'm just doing it because I want to. And that's good enough reason to do it. Okay, I'm going to show you another trick. Now I'm not going to go into details. I'm going to go into very little detail on the rest of this because I want this to be a running stitch tutorial, not a how to design a truck tutorial. So I'm going to do the bottom of the truck and the shadow underneath the trailer as one. And of course, if you're doing this to stitch out the truck, you would do a lot more detail. This would be a light gray, that would be a dark gray. Don't use black because you want your running stitch detail to be in black and really stand out unless you're doing your running stitch in another color. I'm going to do mine in black, so I don't want the shadow or the bottom of the truck to be black so that you can see the black running stitches. So I'm going to do something rather basic for the rest of this. And when I mean basic, I really mean it. Okay, push shift, hit the X, no fill. Give me a dark gray. Give me a dark gray. Where's the dark gray? There, maybe. How about that one? Okay, I guess that'll work for this purpose. Okay, you've seen me do this before. I'm going to duplicate that. Shift what I just created. Go path difference. Okay, now the trailer, we built the trailer in 3 pieces, remember? I'm going to select all 3 of those pieces and then duplicate and then path union. And then take that path union that I just did and do the difference on that. Outstanding. Alrighty. What we need to do now is I'm going to create another layer. Create new layer. And we're going to call this running stitch. I'm going to move the image layer up. And again, I'm going to turn down the opacity. We want to see just enough detail so that when we're doing a running stitch, I don't actually need to see much of the underlying stuff that we just made, really and truly. I don't. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And I'm going to select everything except everything. Yeah, I am going to select everything. I'm going to select everything I'm going to Control D for duplicate. I'm going to path union, and I'm going to move what I just created to the running stitch layer. I'm going to turn off. I'm going to push Shift X to get rid of. I'm going to push, no, not Shift X. I'm going to no Shift and then click the X to get rid of fill. And then I'm going to push Shift and click to give us a black background, a black stroke all the way around the main of the object. So now it looks like that. So that gives us a running stitch to start with. I'm going to make sure I'm in the running stitch layer, and I'm just going to start drawing detail. And it doesn't matter where you click, as long as all of your detail is touching each other. So I'm just going to do this for a few minutes. layer right there. Let's hide that. That's not bad. That's not too bad. Oh, you know something I didn't do on this? I need to go into extensions, Inkstitch params. I'm going to remove the underlay and the underpath. I want my angle line of stitches to be 90. Sure, we'll go with that. All right. Yeah. Not bad. All right, so everything in this running stitch, I might be able to just select that layer even. Let's change everything here. Nope. Select individual. So all the way down, push shift and click. Hit that. Give me a dash line. So now everything there is a running stitch. Extensions, Inkstitch. Tools, stroke, auto route, running stitch. I like to add nodes and intersections. It just makes it seem like it would be easier on Inkstitch to make sure it just seems better. Preserve order of running stitches. I really don't care if it preserves order. They're all going to be on top of the image anyway, so it doesn't. That's not a necessary. Trim jump stitches. You can do that, but if I prefer not to have my machine trim more than what I deem necessary. When a machine trims, it slows down, it ties off, it trims the thread. It has to then start a new thread, tie off, and it does that slowly. Every time you do a trim, you're slowing down the running of the project. So I'd rather have a few extra stitches that go really fast than reserve or preserve a few stitches, but the machine slows down, stops, trims, slow start, picks back up again. So I don't like too many trims. Hit apply. And it is done. Now when you look in your layers, you're going to notice that it has turned all of that and put it into a auto route folder. And all of that is auto run and auto run underpath. The underpath is almost always going to be underneath another stitch. So you see auto run underpath 347 is the exact same stitch as auto run 348. One's going one way, one's going the other. That's where you get your repeat from. It's stitching it and then coming back. All right, let's look at what we have done. Visualize. It looks like I have a lot of, let's see how many color changes I've got. A lot. So I would have to neaten that up a little bit. Go ahead and speed this up a little bit. I love how I did that trailer. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Realistic. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I like it. So anyway, it's not great because I didn't put a lot of time and effort into the under layers. Give that more time, but make sure you're not doing too much detail in your fill because you want your detail to come out in the running stitch on top. But other than that, I think it looks really good. I'm pretty happy with it. So I believe this one's done. If you like what I do here, please like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching.